In a world filled with tabloids and celebrity gossip, there was one man who started it all. With millions of daily views and a loyal audience awaiting his every story, Perez Hilton's blog has delivered us the juiciest news for over 16 years. He has been dubbed the original social media influencer, and guess what? He joins us now. Perez Hilton, welcome to the Ben Robin Robbo Show.
Hello, and I just need to congratulate everybody in Australia for doing their part and getting COVID under control. I so wish I was down there right now because you guys are as close to normal as possible, whereas here in the United States, we're so far removed from normal.
Yeah.
I am losing my mind, and it was already pretty far gone to begin with.
Hey, let's talk about the book, because I actually listened to the audio version of the book and I just couldn't stop. You know, we'd be in the car and I'd make the kids listen to it because it was just fabulous. Something that stands out to me about TMI, My Life in Scandal, is the fact that you seem like someone who is such a fan of celebrity and is still to this day just amazed that you have had such access to these celebrities.
I am, and I've always been this way. I think a lot of my success has to do with the fact that I was born to two Cuban immigrants and grew up in this Latino community where gossiping wasn't frowned upon. I don't know if it is the same in Australia, but I think in the UK, there might be some similarities in that.
Oh, yeah.
In the UK, because a lot of people live in apartments and not homes, when people are done with work, they'll go and meet up at the local pub with their friends or coworkers, and they'll have a pint or a couple of drinks or whatever it is. But in America, most people, when they're done with work, they'll get into their car, they'll drive home, and that's it. Growing up in Miami to these two Cuban immigrants, where everybody around me as well was either Cuban or some other Latino, to gossip was just to be informed. And my mother was so informed. She knew everything about everybody, from the neighbors down the street to my cousins to everybody at my school, all the parents. And she would even subscribe to the Spanish language celebrity magazine.
So, Perez, a lot of people are starting to try and do what you have started. What was your success? What's the secret?
There is no secret other than you have to be willing to sacrifice a lot, because whatever it is that you want to do in your life, you have to put in the hours. You may be able to luck your way into success. And thanks to social media, that can happen for a lot of people. But truly, the only way to sustain success is with an incredible work ethic. Gosh, oh my God, I'm not exaggerating. I work at least 15 hours a day, sometimes well more than that.
But you know what's interesting, and this is what I think is fascinating about you, and I think people don't realize the hours that you put in, but they also don't know relationships that you built, you know, right from the start, whether it was Amanda Bynes or Lady Gaga, like, you know, Adele, so many people, regardless as to where those relationships went, you were able to cultivate genuine friendships with these people, which allowed there to be trust. And so do you find it strange that there might be a bit of misinterpretation from the general public as to who you really are?
I don't find it strange. I've really just accepted that despite me growing and not doing things how I used to do, the overwhelming majority of the world chooses and will only see me as that person that they first encountered many years ago. I can't control people's perception of me. I can only control my words and actions and my reactions.
Well, Perez, you know, that kind of outlook or that perception did change around 2010. You got involved in an anti-bullying project. What was the reason behind the decision to kind of change into that, for lack of another word, nicer Perez?
The universe, life, woke me up. For 6 years, I did things a certain way, and I kept excusing my behavior and conditioning my brain by selling it all sorts of different things. I would tell myself, it's just a character. If people don't like me, it doesn't matter because they don't know me. It's not the real me. It's Perez. Or I would say things like, well, I'm just saying what everybody's thinking, or I would say things like, well, if people don't like what I'm writing, they shouldn't read it. But eventually I had to stop and say, wow, no, people are viewing me a certain way. And at the end of the day, I am responsible for what I'm putting out there. And my words and actions are hurting people. And, I compare that time to being a full-blown hardcore drug addict, which I was. But my drug was attention. I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong, and I didn't care. I wanted that attention so badly. That makes it even worse. That's why I truly and deeply carry with me shame and regret. And it's not something that I'm just saying. It's something that I actually feel. And if I could go back in time and do things differently, I would. At the time, I didn't
Would you
care.
really, though?
I also thought...
Look, I hear you saying that you would take some of that stuff back, but we wouldn't know who you are, if you hadn't have taken those risks.
Here's the perfect example. In 2020, I am very different than 2008 Perez or 2007 Perez or 2009 Perez. Just by having an opinion that goes against the norm, I create headlines and I get people so upset at me. I didn't have to do this or that or the other. I could have just been me and would have still gotten attention and would have still been successful. I know it.
Okay, so Perez, you touched on a lot of things there. Obviously, we're in a world of outrage and cancel culture. You've just given us a good example of something like that. You say that you're anxious and obviously worried about finances like we all are. So has that changed you also? Because you don't want to fall into that outrage, that cancel culture. How do you navigate that now in this world?
Well, thankfully, I am cancel proof. Because I'm
still going.
my own boss. I cannot be canceled. However, and I know this. If I was blessed to get a talk show or a sitcom or a reality show or anything like that, this is the world that we live in now. As soon as that announcement were to be made, everybody and their mother would try to get me canceled. And they'd start coming out with receipts. Look at what he wrote in 2006. Look at what he said in 2009. How dare you give this man a platform? Thank God that my appearance on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here was a surprise, because if I would have been announced ahead of time, there would have been a boycott, Perez, boycott, don't watch. But it wasn't announced ahead of time, and I just popped in and made my cameo, and I was able to do it, and I'm really thankful for that experience. I had a lot of fun doing it. I would love to do more television, but I'm also aware of the fact that, at least in America, everybody in the decision-making roles here are a bunch of snowflakes, as they say politely. They're afraid of potential backlash, even though I know I am great television and I'm capable of doing this and that and the other. It is what it is. I don't focus too much on what I can't do. I focus on what I can do. And the perfect example of that actually is I'm a Celeb. It isn't always as easy as this, but the show didn't reach out to me. I don't think I've ever talked about this. This is an exclusive.
Yeah, really?
Hey!
The show didn't reach out to me. I reached out to the show. And I said, I would love to do the show. And then thankfully we were able to make it happen.
What I think is interesting about your time in I'm a Celebrity in Australia is the relationships that you developed. And when you came off the show, you kind of said, oh, these are the people I loved, and you championed the ones that you wanted to do well. But you certainly clashed with some people in there. Who are the people that you clashed with, and what's the take home? What have you remembered from that?
I only really clashed with one person, and I don't even remember his name, to be honest. But a few things surprised me, actually. That Tanya blocked me on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
And I was shocked by that because I never said anything negative about her. And my whole time in there, gave her my time and made conversation with her. And I thought that we got along. So then when I got out and I saw that she had blocked me, I was just very confused by that. If I was talking smack about her, then maybe I would understand that, but that caught me off guard. But I'm actually just so thankful that I did meet Miguel through that experience. And I still talk to him. Well, not talk to him, but every once in a while we'll DM each other. But I still see him on Instagram, and I'll comment on his photos. And he is just a wonderful human being. And even Rhonda, every once in a while, she'll comment on my photos, and I'll comment on hers. It was really hard to be accepted because by the time I got into that experience, they had all been in there together for about a month, and they all had these negative preconceived notions about me. So yeah, it is what it is.
Maybe they
and also
maybe they watched maybe they watched the little clips that they'd seen of Big Brother UK, because in Big Brother UK, when you were going up against Katie Hopkins, I mean, I still think it's some of the best television I've ever seen in my life. But some of those clashes that you had with Katie Hopkins, blew my mind. I think that blew the audience's mind.
Well, that was real. There is no fake, and and she was not real though. She was purposely poking at me and agitating me and wanting to get into fights with me because she wanted the screen time, or she wanted to be seen as fighting with me or whatever. And if you get poked enough times, you're gonna bite back. That's just human nature. Yeah. And actually, it's a good lesson. Sometimes a bully doesn't care if you're the bigger person. A bully isn't gonna stand back until you stand your ground.
Perez, before we let you go, one thing that comes out in the book is a lot of sadness about the relationships you've had with celebrities, especially when you've gotten to know them before they were famous. You've helped them grow as artists. Lady Gaga is specifically the person I'm thinking of. To have those relationships fall apart, people like Katy Perry, you sort of get left behind once they really do hit the big time. And then you even get accused of stalking by Lady Gaga. How does that affect you on a personal level?
It doesn't affect me now. Enough time has passed that I only look at that era favorably. And I also, not everybody, but a lot of people have a lot more understanding and empathy as they get older. I understand that even though I was hurt by her actions and I was wronged by her, I know that she was going through a lot at the time, which she herself has spoken about, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, and also just going from being an unknown to the most famous pop star on the planet and having your whole world change and everybody start treating you differently. That's not an easy thing. And by the time Gaga exploded, I was already known and successful for a very long time. I genuinely only wish her well, and I hope that similar things happen to everybody that is a talented friend of mine.
But you say that, Perez, but there definitely is a touch of sadness when you're talking about that. When I listen to the book,
I mean, sadness in that I question, and not even a question. I've accepted that I don't think our friendship was real. We had fun together, but she was always just using me. And then when she didn't need me anymore, she cast me aside. That's not a real friendship. I would have still been her friend.
But it was to you.
Exactly. I would have still been her friend had she not been successful. And you got to remember, at the time when I first met her in 2008, that was still old Perez, and most people did not like me. So whenever a celebrity did want to be my friend, I thought it was sincere, naively or foolishly, or I was young at the time. now, I don't even see during normal pre-pandemic times, I don't even see my non-famous friends. It's all about my kids. And I also just have accepted that there will never be real friendships with celebrities because there's always this unevenness to it. There's always an element of I'm using them or they're using me or I'm using them or whatever it may be. And to me, that's not a real friendship. To me, a real friendship is about equality and people coming together.
Exactly.
Because they have common interests and not trying to get anything out of each other.
Yeah.
Perez, a lot of people have asked, you've done a lot of press about this book and you've been everywhere and I've been on the trail with you, I feel, because I've watched a lot of interviews. No one's really asked you this one question. And, you authentically talking about Lady Gaga and the deconstruction of that relationship. Has she seen any of this? Has she tried to reach out to you? I mean, is there any connection between the two of you, and could it ever be repaired? Because we're the same age, and I've grown up throughout watching your career, and I remember your genuine friendship with her. It seemed so real to me. It
was
strange
real to me.
It seems strange
I would even
that
call
she
her my
hasn't reached
wifey.
out.
Yeah, I
know.
used to call her my wife. Yeah, I viewed her as more than a friend. I viewed her as more than a friend. I mean, clearly we didn't have any sexual relationship or anything like that.
Yeah. She's got the wrong plumbing. But has she reached out? Has she reached out at all?
No, she hasn't. But I have reached out to her over the years, either through text and email. And actually, one of the many times that I reached out to her was as soon as I got out of the Celebrity Big Brother house in 2015. And after you go through an experience like that,